Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itinamine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtatyadeshatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtacharishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Garadita, 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 Jaya Garadita, Jaya Garadita, 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 Jaya Garadita. Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev, Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev. Puro Premanande, Hari Hari Hari. Hare Krishna. Lovely devotees, thank you so much for joining today. We're going to begin with a pastime about Guru Maharaj, which is called Raghunath Swami, inspired by Raghunath Das Goswami. Lakshmi Jai, would you like to begin, please?
Sure, Mataji.
Thank you for sharing the screen.
Radhanath Swami, inspired by Raghunath Das Goswami. The year was 1996. The day was 25th January, Vasanta Panchami, the holiest of holidays according to the Gaudiya Vaishnava Vedic calendar. And the time was 1:15 p.m. when my wife gave birth to a baby boy. I was exalted. 5 days later, when Radhanath Swami returned to Mumbai after his week long visit to Pune, he expressed his desire to see the child that same day. So, in the afternoon, while my wife and I occupied a couple square feet of Radhanath Swami's room floor, our infant occupied Radhanath Swami's arms. There his body lay motionless and draped in cloth, bathing in Radhanath Swami's unprecedented, affectionate gaze. Please name him, I requested Radhanath Swami. He looked up at me. What name should I give him? Have you thought of any? No, I haven't. You name him according to your choice, I quickly retorted. At that moment, when everything in Radhanath Swami's entire being, except for his heart, seemed dysfunctional due to affection, I was confident his heart exclusively would respond to my request. I will name him after a person who very much inspired me to gravitate towards the tradition of Gaudiya Vaishnavism while I treated my path towards Krishna Bhakti in Vrindavan in 1971. I was very much influenced by the determination, renunciation, and lifestyle of this personality, Raghunath Das Goswami. Since this child was born on the birthday of Raghunath Das Goswami, I named him Raghunath. Hearing this, I felt a chill tingle up my spine and my mind awash with gratitude. My family, my family's fortune apart, what just transpired had revealed the sacred substance of Radhanath Swami's consciousness. Raghunath Das Goswami, Radhanath Swami's role model, was a saint of the 16th century renowned for his renunciation. He drank only a palm full of buttermilk once in 3 or 4 days for his own sustenance and would devote all his time for devotion to God and selfless service to others. Amid those exhilarating moments, my mind nudged me to be rid of a concern that gnawed at it. What if, after 25 years of my laborious upbringing, my boy doesn't become a devotee of Lord Krishna? I asked Radhanath Swami. I was a Krishna devotee and I wanted my son too to grow up to be one. Upon hearing my words, Radhanath Swami's expression became grave. Whether he becomes a devotee of Krishna is between him and Krishna. But one thing is for sure, if you do your duty of providing him all care, Krishna will definitely take care of your devotion. He had imparted a lesson in true renunciation, attachment only to devotion and to service selflessly. And of course, non coincidentally, it was exactly what Raghunath Das Goswami had exemplified in the 16th century. Hare Krishna, written by Ashok Parikh. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. What a wonderful example. I think many devotees, being parents, feel the same, that they wish for their children to be devotees, and our family members as well, whether it's wife or husband. We all want our families to be devotees since we are on the spot. We feel attached as well. And how wonderfully here Guru Maharaj is explaining it's only between this person and Krishna. So we only have to do our duty, trying not to attach to the results. It is not easy for us. It's wonderful to receive such reminders. Mataji Vardhana, would you like to read?
Yeah, I can read, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The Radhana Swami heart renounced it soft. 26th June 2006. My mother and I awaited Radhana Swami arrival at Bhubaneswar Airport. He was flying from Mumbai and was headed to Jagannath Puri, a 2-hour ride from Bhubaneswar. Bittersweet emotions churned in me. Soon I would be basking in the association of my Guru Radhanath Swami on the car ride to Puri. But then I would be missing my mother. The yearly visit to my home is Bhubaneswar was sadly ending. I stayed in a monastery at Mumbai, emulating the life of Vedic monks, a life centered on studying and teaching the scriptures under the supervision of a guru. After the pilgrimage at Jagannath Puri, I was returning back there. My duties at Mumbai called me. An hour later, while Radhana Swami sat in the car, I loaded my luggage into the car rear. When I approached the door, I found my mother standing there. She spoke to Radhana Swami through the open window. Emotion cracked her voice as she expressed a mother's feeling. Radhana Swami asked me to translate her Oriya into English. She is saying that I am now under your care, I told him. Through gestures, he assured her that her son would be taken care of nicely. As we cruised along the highway, sorry, as we cruised along the highway, Radhana Swami turned to me. Why was she crying? Were the tears of joy or were the tears of separation? He still mulled over my mother's sentiments. That was a confluence of both kinds, I replied. My mother felt proud that I had dedicated my life for the welfare of society. Yet her heart always wanted me on her side. Silent moments passed. That I now belong to you was that she actually intended to convey. I now rendered the corrected translation. Stirred by emotions I hadn't translated accurately earlier, instantly Radhana Swami replied, no, it is not that now you belong to me, you now belong to God. I have surfaced his renunciation from the depths of his heart, though having a following of hundreds of monks and thousands of householders, he never thought they belonged to him. He felt himself only a caretaker, assisting them in their service of God and humanity. The renunciation, however, didn't harden his heart. It was still soft and sensitive to the feelings of a mother. Simitrajan Patnaik. Hare Krishna. Shall I continue, Mataji?
If you wish, maybe.
Yeah. In 2005, my mother wrote to Radhana Swami complaining that I wasn't communicating with my family after joining the monastery. Following this, Radhana Swami instructed me to regularly call up my home, and I duly followed the instruction. In 2010, my mother visited me as we conversed in a garden adjoining the monastery. Radhana Swami happened to come there. Walking to where we sat, he first asked me, are you calling home regularly? Tears welled in my mother's eye. Even after 5 years, Radhana Swami remembered the concern of a mother. Siddheshwar Bhatt. Hare Krishna.
I think we'll move to the book now. The Journey Home.
Shall we go to the book, Mataji?
Yes, please.
Sure.
So, Mataji Priya, would you like to read?
Can you all see Mataji?
Yes.
Okay.
Mataji Madam Manjari, would you like to read?
Machi, I'm traveling, so I'll just listen to you. Thank you.
Well, fine, thank you. I guess I will start. We didn't read much last time, Mataji, Lakshmi Vijaya. We're starting from the beginning of chapter 8.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. After leaving Calcutta, I made a long journey west across the Indian subcontinent to Mumbai, where Goenkaji was teaching another course. It took me 2.5 days to reach Bombay by train. On the train, I meditated on the picture of the blue boy playing a flute. Day by day, a special attraction grew toward him, and I wondered again when it would be revealed to me who this was. Once in Bombay, studying with Goenka, I was again impressed with how he put his life into helping us to learn. When a teacher puts his or her life into the lesson like that,
Sorry,
students
Mama.
can't help
Okay. All right. Sorry.
but be inspired to put their life into learning. After the 10-day course, I had an overwhelming urge to stretch my legs and take a long walk around the city. For several hours, I walked with no particular direction. Suddenly, I found myself struck at a red light in a crossroads of bustling traffic. As horns blared, a river of pedestrians flowed around me. There were men with suits, ties, and briefcases jumbled together with wretchedly dressed street urchins and beggars, ladies in bright saris, hawkers peddling their wares, and elderly men dressed in a traditional Ghanaian attire. People with skin of dark brown, light tan, and those whose skin was bleached and splotched with white leprosy, all hustled in the traffic along with several European tourists who wore jeans and miniskirts. Behind us were modern high-rises side by side with Victorian bungalows and shanty huts. As the sun shone brightly in a clear sky, I looked upwards and took note of a huge billboard painted with bold red letters that advertised a spiritual festival at Cross Maiden. Cross Maiden is an expansive park in downtown Bombay. At the park, a gigantic pandal tent was erected. Entering, I found myself in a world of colors. Posters of Indian art hung from the red, green, and yellow striped walls of the tent. Rows of smoke rose from pungent incense sticks. My eyes then scanned over a long table of books. Suddenly, I was captivated by the cover of one in particular. My heart leapt. The picture showed a beautiful blue boy holding a flute. Enticed, I whispered, "That's him! Yes, that's him!" I thought, not knowing who he was. I had carried my picture of him all over India. Now that same person was again appearing before me. In bold red letters, the title of the book proclaimed itself, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I softly cried out, "Krishna! His name is Krishna!" The long-awaited mystery was now revealed. Eager to learn more about him, I asked if I could look through the book. A Western monk with shaved head and white robe stood behind the table. Taken aback, he asked, "You speak English?" "Yes, I'm from America." I eagerly reached out for the book. "Really? You're not Indian? Are you a worshipper of Shiva?" He placed the book in my hands. "I don't really know what I am, but I've lived with Shivaites." "My name is Tusta," he said. "Here's a chapter I think you'll find interesting. It's about the relationship between Shiva and Krishna." I wondered why he was so surprised to learn that I was from America. I hadn't seen myself in the mirror for a long time, and had not realized until now that with my brown eyes and relatively dark complexion, long matted hair and river-stained robes, perhaps I had come to look just like an Indian mendicant. Embracing the book to my heart, I wandered to a quiet place, and as a man parched from thirst drinks from an oasis of cool water, I read the Krishna book. It began. In the Western countries, when someone sees the cover of a book like Krishna, he immediately asks, "Who is Krishna?" It went on to explain that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and that the name Krishna meant all attractive. Because God possesses all wealth, power, fame, beauty, wisdom, and renunciation to an unlimited degree, he is all attractive. As I read, a young American woman, draped in a yellow sari, sat on the stage singing beautiful devotional songs. Her name, I would learn later, was Yamuna Devi. Absorbed in both reading the Krishna book and listening to her soul-stirring song, I was overcome with emotion. As evening approached, the pandal filled to over 25,000 people. Eager to hear the speaker, I returned the book and sat in the rear corner of the massive crowd. On the stage, about 20 Western devotees chanted and danced, the shaven-headed men wearing the traditional robes of a sadhu and the women wearing colorful saris. The whole crowd was anticipating the coming of the Guru. To everyone's deep satisfaction, he soon appeared on the stage. He was a regal man, with shaven head and saffron robes, and his body glowed. He walked with the grace of the swan and gestured with the confidence of a king. Still, his demeanor was meek and humble, as if he were seeing God everywhere he looked. After welcoming the audience with joined palms, he sat on an elevated seat. At the far back of the crowd, I could barely see. I yearned to be closer, but felt ashamed to step in front of anyone else. Up on the stage, I could see one devotee moving from side to side taking photos. The Guru called him over and spoke in his ear. The devotee then gazed into the massive crowd, looking from side to side until he spotted the person he was looking for. Again and again, he signaled to someone in the multitude to come up on the stage, but when nobody came, he finally descended into the crowd. Painstakingly, he tried to pass through the tens of thousands of people seated on the ground. To my surprise, he walked all the way to the rear and right up to me. Then, with a calm smile, he announced, Srila Prabhupada wants you to sit with him on stage. Stunned, I mumbled, how does he know me? He gave no reply, but simply took me by the hand and pulled me through the masses and onto the stage. There he presented me before the Guru, whose oceanic smile flooded me with joy. Srila Prabhupada looked so familiar, but I didn't know why. Sitting cross-legged with back erect, he was dressed in the neatly arranged saffron robes of a Swami. With a wave of his hand, he graciously motioned for me to sit near to him. So I took my seat on the carpeted stage. In awe, I looked up at him. His large, gentle eyes briefly studied mine with a glance that touched my soul. His complexion was bronze, his nose wide and rounded, and his drooping ears were like the ears of Lord Buddha. From his recently shaved head, short white hairs had grown out on either side, and two vertical lines of yellow clay represented the yogic path of devotion adorned his forehead. Two deep creases sloped down from the sides of his nose to the corners of his full sculpted lips. As the devotees jubilantly danced and sang, their robes clean and bright, I became aware of my own robes, tattered and stained by the mud of the rivers, whereas the devotee men had freshly shaven heads and faces. I could not even remember the last time I shaved my face, not to speak of cutting of or combing my hair. Having bathed in a river of muddy pond each day, I must have appeared filthy in the presence. While they sang and danced jubilantly, I sat in silence. Habituated of residing in secluded forests, now here I was sitting on a stage with tens of thousands of people looking on. Feeling self-conscious and extremely out of place, I was about to flee. But then Srila Prabhupada cast such an assuring, affectionate smile upon me that I instantly felt right at home. Why had this man called me up to sit with him? Me, of all people? Wow. Mataji Lakshmi Vijaya, would you like to continue, please?
Sure, Mataji.
About 3 pages, if you could, thank you.
As I pondered this mystery, Srila Prabhupada picked up a pair of finger cymbals and began to tap them together, each of fingers moving with meticulous grace as a steady rhythm rang out. In a deep, resonant voice, His body swaying gently, he began to chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I gasped. It was like a dream to hear him chanting the very same mantra I had heard from the song of Mother Ganges. How often had I chanted this mantra since that day in Rishikesh when the river had revealed it to me? A tingle shot up my spine. Shivers rushed through my limbs, and my heart pounded like a kettle drum. Through tear filled eyes, I gazed up at Srila Prabhupada, whose eyes were tightly shut, eyebrows tensed, his lips arched downward as the mantra poured out from them. The massive crowd sang in response. The devotees on stage played traditional drums, cymbals, and gongs as the tent resonated with the sound of the mantra. After the chanting, Srila Prabhupada cleared his throat and spoke into the microphone in a deep, resonant voice, explaining the meaning of the mantra. We are singing the Maha Mantra or the great chanting for deliverance. He then described that the name Hare was an invocation for Radha, the divine energy or female counterpart of the Lord. It is she that is the origin and giver of the love of God. Krishna is name of God, that means he is all attractive. And the name Rama means the Lord is the supreme enjoyer and bestows unending bliss to those who offer him their love. He went on to explain that transcendental sound vibration cleansed the heart of selfish desires and awakened our original natural love for God, bringing about spiritual happiness. While chanting the Mahamantra, Srila Prabhupada continued, We are praying to the Lord. Please engage me in your loving service eternally. My mind flew back to the Himalayas and to the rock in Mother Ganges. I finally understood. These were the names of the beautiful blue boy playing the flute, the one who had appeared to me in the painting, and he was a form of God. All along, I had been chanting the mantra and meditating on the painting, having no clue of the connection. Now, Srila Prabhupada revealed very simply the sacred mysteries that I had pondered for so long. My mind soared in amazement as I observed the adventures of my quest unfolding. Smiling, I redirected my attention to the words of Srila Prabhupada. He confidently explained how true religion was not the property of any sect, caste, or creed, but the nature of all living beings. Our nature, he said, is to love God. But this love has been forgotten since time immemorial. Such love of God must be unconditional to completely satisfy the self. We are spirit souls, he said, but in ignorance we identify this temporary body with the self. He went on to explain how the cause of all suffering was forgetfulness of our relationship with God and how this consciousness could be easily awakened by the chanting of God's names. In a voice brimming with compassion, he pleaded with the audience to take this message seriously. This process, he said, which revives our dormant love of God, is called Bhakti Yoga. As Srila Prabhupada was speaking, I heard a voice within my heart proclaim, This is your Guru. But my mind could not accept it. A battle ensued between my brain and my heart. There are many saints and gurus I have met in the past, and I will meet more in the future. I can't be hasty. This is the most important decision of my life. I must be sure before committing myself to any particular path. My mind won the battle. My mind won the battle, and still confused, I dismissed the idea that I was ready to choose a guru. Can I stop here, Mataji?
Okay, thank you. Mataji Gitika, would you like to read?
Sure, Mataji, but which, from where?
So, from the top of the page, after
this
his lecture.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna. After his lecture, As he was leaving, Srila Prabhupada stopped directly in front of me. Bustling crowds were gathered around us, and my mind was exploding with excitement. I spontaneously fell to my knees and extended my hand to touch his feet. A thunderous voice shouted, "No one touches Prabhupada's feet." Struck with shame, I retracted my hand, but Srila Prabhupada looked deeply into my eyes. I sensed that he could feel shame and felt responsible for the cutting words of his disciple. I felt afraid. Then, with a beaming smile, he gently spoke. "You may touch my feet." Feeling both relieved and honored, I placed the dust of his feet on my hand. He rubbed my head affectionately and invited me to sit on the stage with him each morning and evening. His kindness left me speechless. The next morning after the lecture, I waited in line with hundreds of people to receive breakfast, a popular Indian sweet called halwa. Not having eaten in a day, I was hungry. Finally, after about an hour, I reached the front of the line where a leaf cup brimming over with fresh hot halwa was placed into my hand. What a blessing! I could hardly wait, but out of the blue my halwa was snatched away. What just happened? My adrenaline rushed and stomach burned in dismay as I turned around. There I saw the same devotee who had brought me onto the stage the night before with my halwa in his hand. His name was Gurdas. "You are not going to eat this, are you?" he asked. "I thought I would," I said, a little indignantly. Right before my eyes, he handed my long awaited breakfast to someone else. Then, grasping my hand, he pulled me away. Moments later, I seated behind the stage where a calm American woman named Malati Devi put a plate, pull me away, put a plate in front of me. It was feast with 12 varieties of sacred vegetarian food. Gurdas smiled. "This is better for your health. We just want to make you happy." Examining me, they boldly stated, "You're a devotee. Someday you will understand." Sitting beside me was an American devotee named Shamsundar who struck up a friendly conversation. He was so easy to talk to, and I had a strange feeling that I knew this man. Suddenly it dawned on me that this was the monk I had encountered at the Cosmos Club in Amsterdam, the one who had laid the fruit and yogurt into my hands, asking if I wanted spiritual food. When I reminded him about it, he laughed loudly, saying, "Oh, there was you. Everyone else had a bowl. I'm sorry about that." As we talked, his wife Malati brought more sacred food until I begged her to stop. Meanwhile, their 4-year-old daughter Saraswati frolicked in and out of the backstage. Her striking blonde hair, sparkling blue eyes, and unbiased enthusiasm was a wonder to the Indian people. I drank in the sense, eagerly breaking my fast. It is said that a saintly person is so pure that he or she act like a spotless mirror. When we come in the presence of such a mirror like soul, we can see both the beauty and ugliness of our inner life. Our faith and doubts, virtues and sins, strength and weakness are revealed. It is both a joyful and painful experience, one that I had in the presence of Srila Prabhupada. One evening, as he lectured, the seriousness of his demeanor induced me to question my own sincerity. How genuine is my motivation? Am I taking responsibility for my own life and that of others? Why have I not yet found a particular path? Is it fear of commitment or frivolity? What uncertain future is his life leading me into? The moment these thoughts were running through my head, from his high seat in the presence of thousands of onlookers, Srila Prabhupada fixed his eyes into mine. Looked in his gaze, I felt the massive crowd blur into oblivion. It seemed that nobody existed except him and me. I could feel his eyes penetrating into the depths of my soul and silently speaking through my heart. Do not waste precious time. Krishna is waiting for you. I trembled in gratitude but knew that I would soon leave. In my confusion, I felt it the honest thing to do. The experience of those days with him had been incredible, but my fate was still like an anchorless boat and on a stormy sea. My fear of commitment and straying in my heart to see more places in me and meet more enlightened being impelled me to move on. Yes, I thought a deep conviction in both my intellect and heart must come before I can honestly accept a particular part of Guru. I believed that God would eventually reveal my destiny. Overwhelmed by Srila Prabhupada's wisdom and compassion, I wanted to buy his Krishna book before leaving Bombay. I had no money, so to afford it, I took the streets of Bombay to beg, but I was too shy to be a good beggar. Pained and intimidated, I tried but couldn't rise enough. On the last day of the festival, a disciple brought me before Srila Prabhupada. He stood in the sunshine outside the tent. His head was slightly tilted upward, his back straight, and both his hands wrapped the handle of his wooden cane, which he touched the ground between his feet. His large eyes gazed into mine, and his downward slanting lips highlighted his grave demeanor. Yes, he asked. The disciple said, the boy wants your new book so badly. He's began begging in the streets with the hope to buy it. Srila Prabhupada was so touched that with his own hands he gave me a copy of the book. His eyes flooded with kindness and he petted my head and softly said, thank you very much. Thank you very much. My heart echoed. I bowed my head in reverence.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading.
Mataji.
Mataji Vardhana, could you continue, please?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Himalayan pilgrimage. The Himalayas were calling and I longed to answer. The next day I sat on the grimy concrete floor of a railway platform waiting for the next third class ride toward north. I settled in to read the book Srila Prabhupada had given me and was surprised to see that it had an introduction by George Harrison of the Beatles, who wrote, "Everybody is looking for Krishna. Some doesn't realize that they are, but they are. Krishna is God, the source of all that exists, the cause of all that is, was, or ever will be. As God is unlimited, He has many names. Allah, Buddha, Jehovah, Ram, Rama, all are Krishna, all are one. I have been studying world religions and felt I had so much more to learn. This ecumenical sentiment both pleased and surprised me, and I tucked the book into my bag for further examination in the future. At the station, I met a man in his 40s who was neatly dressed in white cotton pant and shirt, rode a white Nehru cap, wore a white Nehru cap, and had a dark complexion with scars on his cheeks from a childhood bout with smallpox. His name was Madhava, and he worked as a supervisor for the railways. He persuaded me to join him on a trip to visit his guru. So from Mumbai, he traveled a few hours east by bus to the holy site of Ganesh Puri. Upon arriving, he directed me, "Before meeting Guruji, you must be purified by bathing in the nearby hot sulfur springs." We approached three small ponds simmering with dark, opaque water. Dozens of locals scrambled about shouting to one another while dozens more took their daily baths. Slowly, I submerged myself into smoking gray liquid that clung to my skin like oil, gradually adjusting to the burning heat and sour smell. Submerging myself into up to my neck, the heat penetrated and revitalized my body and mind. Madhava that held out that I was not prepared to visit his guru. After I dressed, he led me to a small brick temple. Passing through the arch entries, I found myself face to face with large black and white photograph of a slightly heavy man with a shaved head who wore only a lawn cloth. He had a round face, prominent cheekbones, penetrating eyes, and wild stubble covering his jaw. There Madhava informed me that was his guru, Nityanand Baba, who had given up his moral body 10 years before. Here in his state tomb or samadhi, his spirit could be felt with vibrancy more real than life. All round the samadhi, which was lit with oil lamps perfumed with mogra incense and decorated with yellow and orange marigold. Nityanand Baba followers sang God's name in unison. To my surprise, they were chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. They were the very one the river Ganges has revealed to me in the Himalayas, and which Srila Prabhupada has sung in Mumbai chills ran through me. Nityanand Baba is worshipped by millions of followers in the states of Maharashtra and Karnataka. Madhva explained the details of his life, teaching and miracles. In the later part of 19th century, while collecting wood in the jungle, a poor woman was attracted by unusually loud cawing of crows in a densely wooded area. There she found an infant boy lying alone in the leaves. She entrusted the child to the barren woman who worked as a maidservant to a wealthy Brahmin. Even as a tiny boy, he was detached from the world, leaving his adoptive family at the age of 10 to become a spiritual renunciant. Nityanand Baba traveled far and wide by foot, always eager to serve those who in need and enlighten the hearts of whomever he met. In these later years, he had settled here at Ganesh Puri. While meditating at his samadhi, the chant in the background, I felt the overpowering presence of Nityanand Baba as if to assure me that his blessing were upon me. Several days later, I was led to a disciple of Nityanand Baba who was building an ashram nearby. Small but by repeatedly growing, the hall of worship was located just off the roadside. As the door opened, the mantra to Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya, reverberated in a slow, hyponic chant. Inside, a couple dozen disciples from both from India and the West were chanting in unison. Stringed drones called tambours made from the holy ground vibrated intensely. As the chanting faded into silence, everyone spilled out into the into the into a courtyard. I watched and waited then as his disciple bowed down, their guru entered. He was 63 years old with dark complexion, deep brown eyes, short untrimmed hair and beard, with clothed in saffron robes. In his presence, his followers lit, him, lit up with joy. I asked who he is. Swami I, Mukundananda, I was told. Pe- Peering at me through his spectacles, the Swami addressed us through a translator. When I was 15, he began, I renounced my wealthy home for the life of a sadhu. I wandered to every holy place and at last met my Gurudev, Nityanand Baba. Smashing his right fist into his left palm, he he exclaimed, Baba crushed my pride like no one else could do. Here he was describing very thing I had been wondering and worrying about, which path or guru to choose and why. The audience, myself included, clung to his every word. Shakti part in initiation awakens a cosmic energy called kun- Kundalini from the base of spine. The Kundalini rises up the spine through the seven energy chakras to the top of the head where it merges into the Supreme. The surest means of awakening the Kundalini, Swami Mukundanand said, is when a Siddha Guru or perfected teacher gives a mantra and transmit his or her Shakti directly to a disciple. He concluded, become addicted to your mantra even more than alcoholic toward the liquor, never forget it. On, uh, on one occasion, as I stood with Swami Mukundan on the roadside, a vicious dog, howling insanely, bearing its threatening fangs, came churning towards us. People shrieked and scattered. With the with a merry stare, Swami tamed the creature and it meekly bowed his head. Blessing the dog, he turned to me and spoke through a translator. I have noted you to be a sincere sadhu. If you wish, I will initiate you into Shaktipat. Imagine, Images of Tatwala Baba, the Nagaguru, and others who excited themselves in this way flashed through my mind. Thank you, Swamiji, I replied, both startled and honored. But I have vowed not to accept formal initiation from a guru until I am convinced I will never leave his shelter. Nervously, I petted the dog. How part of me wished I could easily accept his generous offer. I don't deserve your kindness, but I haven't had made that decision. Hare Krishna.
Just one more sentence left, Mataji.
Yeah, I appreciate your sincerity. He said, gazed into my eyes, God, will you guide me? Then, like a confirmation to his blessing, the once piteous dog licked my hand again and again. Madhav,
We can stop here. Thank you.
yes, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear Mataji, for reading. Would you like to share any thoughts?
This is so wonderful seeing our Guru Maharaj meeting his Guru Maharaj for the first time, and also Krishna revealing himself and knowing the meaning of Hare Krishna mantra, and everything came together like a great arrangement by Krishna. And that's really awesome, amazing when we are going through those details.
Yes, Mataji, I feel like Guru Maharaj had to do such a long way to meet Srila Prabhupada when Srila Prabhupada was in America. Probably he had an opportunity to meet him here, but he had to go through so much in order to meet him. And yeah, it's very touching the way, when he meets Srila Prabhupada and how sincere our Guru Maharaj is and how sincere Srila Prabhupada is and how wonderful that they feel like both of them like feel something towards each other, and just exciting, I guess.
We are so fortunate to read these chapters, and we can see the depth of our Guru Maharaj's heart and Srila Prabhupada's mercy. We can see both of them, and we are so fortunate that we are now receiving that mercy of both Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. We are really fortunate.
Yes, Mataji. So happy to read the journey home again, to remind again how Maharaj went through, Mataji.
So much struggle,
Yeah.
highest goal in life. Mataji Gitika, would you like to share anything?
Thank you so much, Mataji. You all already said your experience realizations. Same, mine also. Again, feel very fortunate that Maharaj even shared through the book his struggles, his experiences, the path, the realization to find God, his craving to find God, to take the to get the Krishna book. I mean, in this part, and the reveal Lord Himself revealing, and the Hari name Himself. So being to know all this, got to know all this, feel fortunate.
Yes,
Thank you.
Mataji, thanks to Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, who inspired our Guru Maharaj to write this book. So we have the
Yes.
opportunity to read now.
Yeah. Feel blessed for him too.
Where are you located, Mataji? I'm seeing you for the first time in our reading.
I'm from Assam, India, Assam, Northeast Assam. Actually, I had another class in the same time, but today the class is cancelled, so I thought to enter it. And as the Journey Home book is reading, and I love, and this through this book I came to ISKCON, and I got to know about the spiritual. My spiritual journey also started from the starting of this book. So I was wanted to I wanted to read this book again, but due to time and as being I'm a student, so excuses. That's why. So I came thought to attend, and thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing your story. That's wonderful to know as well. There was another devotee who became, thanks to this book that Guru Maharaj read about his own personal story and sharing all this knowledge about different parts. Mataji, we read not only the journey home, we read different books. So normally in the beginning we read stories about Guru Maharaj, and then we'll move from one book to another. So once we complete the journey home, then we'll move to the next book. So you're welcome.
Yes, sure. Yes, I will try my best to attend.
Okay,
Join
so
whenever you can.
thank you, Mataji Lakshmi Vijaya, for sharing the screen. Thank you for your service. I'm
Hare
going
Thank
to
you so much.
end our session today here. Vanchakapatrukyascha kripasindhubhyevacha patitaranabhavanebhyo navakyo
Namaha.
Vaishnavrinda ki
Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai, Guru Maharaj
Jai.
ki jai.
Jai. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Next week, Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.